Hello V-Ray users, Alex here, your V-Ray guide, and thanks a lot for joining me to Photoshop Postwork 2.0 video series. As you see here, we've been upgraded and I'm using those cool lenses in order to bring some more taste to our video sessions. Okay, so on those video series, I'm gonna share with you some cool tips and tricks for color correction, post-production, and passes combination. Everything done with Photoshop. So basically, you'll be able to fix your renders, stuff like reflections, manipulate lighting, rendering bugs, and other stuff just by using Photoshop. So I hope you enjoy those video series, and if you want to learn more, you're of course welcome to join our practical training. But for the meantime, please enjoy this free video tutorial that's called Linear Passes Combination, and I'll show you how you can improve your image only by using V-Ray passes. Alright, so I have my passes here. I'm going to use regular V-Ray passes that V-Ray produce. And of course I have RGB image. This is the final image that I'm aiming for. The image was rendered with linear mode. That means color mapping 111. And all the lighting adjustments were done by V-Ray physical camera. On my right hand I have a blueprint. This is what I'm aiming for. And as you see here, I have also description of each pass and the result that we're getting. So raw GI multiply diffuse, we're going to get GI. And on the right hand I have normal screen. I have different Photoshop modes that these passes needed to be adjusted with in order to start building all our passes up on each other. So I'm going to close my image right here. If you don't know how to render passes, go ahead, check out my blog. There's a lot of stuff about it. I made a lot of tutorials in previous sessions. Okay, so today we're going to use linear passes combination mode. This is the not profitable method to use in Photoshop because you cannot build your tree binary. That will you can build only linearly all your layers up on each other. However, if you combine two layers and you give them names and you save them, you'll be able to do this properly. Okay, so the first one is raw GI. So I'm going to take diffuse channel and raw GI, those two passes, and I'm going to drag and drop into the Photoshop. So in order to build them, I need to drag and drop global illumination pass over my diffuse channel, and I'm going to use multiply for that, and I'm going to mesh them down, and I'm going to name them GI. So voila, we have multiplied our raw with diffuse, raw GI with diffuse, and we got global illumination. Okay, so this is our first pass. Next one is raw lighting with diffuse. So I'm going to go and take my diffuse and my raw lighting right here, drag and drop into the Photoshop. Same procedure. I'm going to put drag and drop raw lighting pass over the diffuse. I'm going to use multiply in order to combine and create lighting pass. Okay, so I'm going to measure them down, name them lighting, and drag and drop them into this second layer, my main layer right here. So as you see here, this layer actually been used with the screen mode. So I'm going to change this into the screen mode, and voila, I have my image with lighting and global illumination with no reflection. So the next one is going to be the reflections. Okay, reflections being basically used on the same method. So let me show you how you do the reflections first. So reflections is you need to drag and drop reflection filter and reflection pass, and this is how you use the filter in the most efficient way. Control A, Control C, you need to select the filter pass, then you select your reflection filter, you go into the layer mask, reveal all, and in your layers you have channels. Oops, I'm going to close it. And in your layers you have channels. So when you do reveal all, new channel being added. So you can Control V just to paste that layer that you selected, the filter that you selected and copied before, then Control D to deselect, and drag and drop this into your scene. Now, as you see here, we have reflections. So this is basically the basic reflection. If you want to have way stronger reflection, you can use the raw reflection pass in the same way. So we're going to take our reflection filter, we're going to take our raw reflections and drag and drop them into the Photoshop. Same stuff here. We're going to select our reflection filter, Control A, Control C, and copy it. And now we need to paste it. Layer, reveal all. We're gonna go into the new channel that's been created. Control V, Control D to deselect, unhide, and then drag and drop. So here we go. We can see already that this pass is really strong. We get really strong reflections in our scene. Of course, all of this can be controllable by just adjusting the opacity of the layer. Okay, the next one is raw total lighting. And we're going to take our raw total lighting and drag and drop it into the Photoshop. And this layer, as you see here, is used on the overlay mode with 25% opacity. So I'm going to change to the overlay. As you see here, we can start manipulating our lighting on the spot. So here we go. I'm going to use it. I'm going to leave it in 25 just for the sake of idea. And we're going to combine our next pass is global illumination with raw total lighting. So we're going to take our global illumination pass, and our raw total lighting. I'm gonna drag and drop them. And I'm gonna drag and drop raw total lighting. This, by the way, I found really by mistake, but it creates really neat pass that controls lighting, soft lighting in your render. So we're gonna use this also on overlay mode. Is a different mode. So we're going to combine them and drag and drop into my image. So we have I'm going to use it on the screen. I'm going to use its opacity to 75%. As you see here, we can control our lighting really nicely with this pass without any overburns or any overexposure. So 75% might be really good. The next one is going to be shadows. So I'm going to take the shadows right here, V-Ray shadows, and I'm going to use it with diffuse filter. So V-Ray shadows and diffuse. I'm going to drag and drop shadows over diffuse. And I'm going to use overlay mode for this pass as well, as you see here. Measure them down, and now we have really nice, good control over our shadows. So close that layer, and we're going to use this on the soft light, 25%. Soft light, 25%. You see here, we get really nice dark shadows. Of course, not to overdo it. You can easily control it. So just leave it for on 25% and move up to the next pass is the reflections. I like to use reflections at the end, basically because all stuff that's transparent needs to be above all the other passes. So I'm gonna open them, reflection pass and the filter. Control A, Control C, same method as for reflections. Reveal all, go to channels, Control V, paste it. Control D to deselect, unhide it, close this, and now you can see we can position our reflection. So as you see here, we have in our glasses and we have our window with the refracted area. Okay, The next one is the specular. I like this pass, especially because you can duplicate this pass as many times as you want and create really nice soft blurry reflections in your image. You can also work with mask in order to hide and unhide different areas. So basically those black passes, the best way to use with the screen, because screen actually takes all the blacks out and leaves only the colors. So as you see here, I start to get really nice soft blurred shadows in my image. You can see on the curtains, you can see on the chairs. Okay, and the last one is self-illumination pass. Self-illumination. This pass also can be used because it's all black, so we need to basically remove the black. So we're gonna use it on the screen mode, and voila, we have our image. Really nice, well done with all the passes. And let me just close all the passes here and unhide this image. This is the original image. We can see there is a lack of contrast, and we can see there's a lack of lighting, direction, and everything. But after I'm hiding all the passes here, boom, this is what we get. We get really nice adjustable image, and now we have full control over everything that you want to have. If you want to have more reflections, you can add more reflections. You can duplicate actually this layer and have more reflections in your scene. If as you see here, I'm duplicating, I can even duplicate one more time. So each time I duplicate, I increase the appearance of this aspect. If it's reflections or refractions in my scene, I can also, for example, increase my transparency by duplicating the reflection pass. Okay, so this is how you combine your image. The last pass is going to be ambient occlusion pass that needed to be rendered separately. So we can drag and drop our ambient occlusion pass into our image, and we can use it on we should use it on the multiply mode right here. And of course we need to adjust its opacity. However, I always like to first to do the levels for this pass in order to get excuse me, in order to get really nice and contrast shadows in the scene and remove the whites as much as possible, something like this. Okay, and then I can also reduce its opacity. So basically, as you see here, the presence, really nice presence of soft shadows being applied. One remark, you always want to use this pass under self-illuminated objects, because the self-illuminated is supposed to be pure white and you don't want to blur them by using ambient occlusion pass. Okay, so let's just put it ambient occlusion. Okay, the last things that you can do in order to make your image look better is, of course, you can add different layer adjustments, stuff like color balance, for example. And here we go. I always like to add a little bit of a highlights just to change them a little bit. Each image needs to have a special treatment and treat it separately. It's not all the time works the same, because you have different colorizations, different color balances in your scenes. So this is what basically I do in order to get really nice natural colors for your wood and floor and furniture and stuff like that. Okay, so something like this might work really nice. Okay, and if you want, you can always add more stuff like exposure or brightness and contrast. Let's add a little bit more brightness to the image. You can add more contrast, you can reduce contrast, something like this would work fine. And here we go. Voila, we have built our scene completely from scratch, completely just by using passes. This is the first layer. I can actually delete it because we don't need it anymore. And as you see here, my image being built only by using passes, and we have created reflections. So you know, reflected stuff just look great on the image. So this is the way how you can add more reflections, add more transparency, manipulate lighting, add lighting, reduce lighting. Basically, you have full control over your image only by using Photoshop. Isn't that great? I just love this. I just love this program. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you can use this in your daily work. You can download the blueprint below this video. So no worries, I got you covered. Okay, so have a great day. This was Alex, your Vira guide. Talk soon. Ciao.